Move your intranet into Teams. Easy peasy with Tony Proctor.
Don't forget Father Time.
And the developers.
And the supreme leaders. Don't forget finance. And don't forget us old timers. And don't forget major process.
Hi everybody, Tony Proctor with the PMO Roadmap. Just want to welcome you to this session. Although you can see so far it's not going to be your typical session. And as you get to spend some time with me, you're going to see I'm not your typical kind of person when it comes to training or even implementing systems. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm an ex-Navy guy. I've traveled all over the world, luckily, with my job in the Navy. As you can see, I've got some Navy stuff around my office. Career-wise, I've been a web developer, a project manager, a Java developer, systems analyst, business analyst, manager of a PMO, a little bit of everything. And then I started consulting in about 2012 because I really liked the fact that I could do a lot of difference in companies versus just doing one job and one project at a time. So my expertise is mainly around Project Server and Project Online, but I noticed that a lot of the collaboration features that we have to use day to day in our projects was something that we finally got in Office 365. So these features that we use, I'm going to talk about those today, and it's going to hopefully help you guys with moving your intranet into Microsoft Teams easy peasy. But before we do this project, I kind of have to put on my project manager hat and say, should we even do this? An intranet usually is just awful. Static information, org charts that are 5 years old, file dumps that are so just cluttered and unable to find anything that you want. So why would we even move it over there? Well, just in case you still want to do it, let's go ahead and show you how to get in there and get your internet in there. So all you're going to need is an Office 365 license, an org-wide Microsoft team that I'll show you how to create, and then a link to your intranet. That's basically all you're going to need. To create your team, just open up Microsoft Teams. Down at the lower left, you're going to go ahead and click on Join or Create a Team. Then you go ahead and click on the Create Team button. And then normally you're going to click org-wide. Now this would make it so everybody in the organization has access and nobody has to maintain this. But for now, we want to make sure this is private because we're just going to do some testing. So go ahead and select the private. And then on your next screen, you're going to go ahead and build a team from scratch. And then go ahead and add a name for your intranet. Let's go ahead and do a test site and go ahead and add a description so you can see how that looks. Once you click create, then you're going to have your own team site. Go ahead and click on the general channel. Now, I'll talk more later about recommendations for channels and things like that, but for now, let's go ahead and click on that. Click the plus sign at the top. Go ahead and click on the website, so we're going to add a tab for that. Then you can add a tab name, so we're just going to use Intranet Home, and then go ahead and add the URL. Then after that, you'll notice you've got a website, or your intranet. Whatever that internal or external URL is, you've now got it. And just like that, we're done. All right, let's call it a day.
You get my thumbs up. Works for us. That sounds reasonable.
Works for us.
I'm kidding. There's a lot more to it than that. I've got document management to talk to you about. We've got to talk about MS Teams and the channels, recommendations for that, dealing with stakeholders. We've got a little bit more. Let's get back into it. So first things first, let's go ahead and make sure that everybody knows that there's a Q&A in this session. So if you've got questions, go ahead and put those in there. And as this session unfolds, I'll be able to go ahead and answer those. And at the very end, I'll recap any of the ones that were really important and we want to make sure everybody else can see. If you haven't done it yet, I definitely want to recommend that you download the mobile app. It's fantastic. It gives you a lot of things that you can use, like replacing your desk phone, messaging, both new messages or contacting people as well as the historical messages, your files and documents. You get to actually open the documents and look at them from the app, lists, planner, tasks, all the project management pieces that you can access through there, your calendar, right from what you would usually see in Outlook. You get an org chart, and there's lots more. As always, I have to put on my project management hat. I want to make sure you can implement this at your organization and have the expectations up front that it's not one size fits all. You're going to have to customize how you want to roll this out at every organization. And believe it or not, each department. Now, certain things like OneDrive or something like that, how you roll that out, you want to kind of have that consistent throughout the organization. But rolling out Microsoft Teams or having the intranet there, you can have both. As we saw, you just create a link and it's there. So you can have both in parallel and then slowly roll this out and slowly get people over into Microsoft Teams using that intranet versus going back and forth between different places. So let's get more into it. I would say the first approach that I would recommend is just starting with adding that top level page of your intranet. Just like what we did earlier. Now, this allows you to just start with something basic, let people start to see it, be able to realize that, oh, wow, I can get to my intranet and I don't have to open up the browser or find out where that's at, and it's already there. But before you do that, you want to make sure you actually configure that Microsoft team. So let me show you a couple of those things. What you'll do is go to your team, click on the 3 ellipses next to your team, then click on Manage Team. From this section, go ahead and click on Settings. I'm not going to go through all the settings, but I'm going to show you a couple things that I recommend that you do update. Go ahead and add a team logo or your company logo. Just give it something to make it kind of stand out. Security is always really important, so go ahead and set the member permissions. By default, everything will be checked. I would go ahead and uncheck them so people don't add a bunch of things or delete things. And then that's it. You can start with that for your demo site. So remember, at this point, we're still just using a test site. So you're going to have to individually go ahead and add those people that you're going to show it to if you want. Or a lot of times what I'll do is don't add anybody except a couple key people that are already part of this. Show that to them, work with them, and then go to leadership, go to marketing, go to HR and say, hey, we're able to do this if this is something you're interested in, and then start getting some dialogue so then they can get more involved versus this is just adding a couple links from the intranet and that's it. Now that we've got the approach, let's talk about specifically what you should add. These are just recommendations, but I look at the channels and the tabs and I look at it a certain way. And let's just start with adding maybe 7 or 8 different things: branding, employee forms, handbook, procedures. That way people have something to see and start having some dialogue about what they see and if it's important or not important. And then you can add some tabs to it as well. And here's how I get to that. I usually look at my intranet and the channels as in visibility, topics, and ability. Visibility is what you can see. So what are the files or the folders that certain people can see or not see? Your ability is what can you do? Can I view the documents? If I'm in HR, can I create or edit or delete documents? And then who has the dialogue? What are we discussing? So time off, COVID, vacation, any of those things that people would have some dialogue about. We take those 3 things, merge them together, and that part in the middle is really what's going to create what you think should be your channels. And that's how I kind of got to these ones that you're seeing here. In addition, I'd probably add a PowerPoint or an Excel document that as you do your demos, you can kick it off with this document to have that dialogue with whomever is the audience that you're speaking to so that it makes more sense to them. That you can say, by the way, we have this MS team, we have channels. These channels were identified due to the topics that are most often requested. And then from there, once they can see it, then you can have that dialogue with your customers about who has visibility or who has ability to actually modify, delete, or add information to those different channels. Okay, so now we've got our approach. We've got the configuration pieces. Now let's start digging into the exactly what do we want to add to this site for our demos. So that way you're prepared and they've got something to look at beyond just a single web page to the intranet. All right, let's dig back into it. Here are the main things that I would recommend adding to your demo. The intranet and external sites is really important. For example, show them your intranet, how it links right up to it. You could show them on your mobile phone as well. And then also if you've got Salesforce or any of these external sites, show them that so that it shows up at the very top in the tabs. And then show them how you could do Q&A in the post section of the teams. For example, let's say here I posted a question about holidays. When are they? And then Albert Einstein can come in and reply to me. He can go ahead and leave a comment, but also have a link to the document that's actually in this channel as well. Future people with questions can use this and be able to refer to it and see the answers, and then we don't have to ask the same question over and over again. It's already there, and we can update those documents. I'm not going to dig into every single one of these bullet points, but when you get a chance, go in and start looking at these things and see if it makes sense for your demo as well. Wikis, knowledge bases, OneNote, Stream, which is like YouTube for your business. It's fantastic for training, but also you can have leadership put out monthly messages and it's all going to be right there and it's only within your company. You can also email documents to channels, private channels. So if you need to lock down information for a certain subset of people that are part of an actual team, adding something, for instance, like a COVID channel. So everybody can ask the questions there and get all their information there. And then looking at how to use the basic web pages within SharePoint. The modern styles are very simple and easy to use. You can also create news articles with that. And then finally adding the PowerPoint or Excel or Word documents to the file library and then surfacing those at the tabs at the top are fantastic. Now remember, if you guys ever get stuck on the lower left-hand side of Teams, there's a help section. You can click on that. There's topics, there's training, all kinds of stuff. All right. Next thing, I want to talk to you about the challenges that you're going to have. As much as I'd love to say it's going to be rainbows and unicorns and very easy for everybody, there's going to be some challenges like,
We don't have time for that. We don't have budget for that. Hold your horses there, buddy. We got stuff to look at first. First, we gotta have a process in place. We gotta get all the requirements. This is a waterfall, so we gotta make sure everybody's included in this. This is gonna take a long time. There's no rushing, buddy.
yes, they're going to have all of those challenges and a lot more. So here are the things I want to list out for you that you can do, but always just stay positive, do your best, and get people that are positive around you to do those things. All right, so let's look at it. Like I said, stay positive. This isn't difficult, but it does take time, and it's definitely a learning curve to change the way we did things before to how we could do them in the future. And also keep things small. Keep your meetings small. Interact with just a few people on this. Don't have big, huge meetings where you get a lot of people picking it apart, and then it'll just go into a tailspin. And remember, you can do parallel paths. This isn't option A or option B. You can do 3 or 4 different things and present them all and then make progress with those. And definitely include your can-do people. Anybody that says, yes, 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 we need this, let those people be part of what you're doing. Even though they may not be a technical person, let people get involved. They can learn this quickly and they can help spread the word about it. Definitely testing this, using it, have fun with it, watch the videos, use the help on there. Look at the stream videos that you create, record your meetings so that people can see those, and then go out and watch some YouTube videos or find some consultants that can help you out. And you can do this. I believe in you guys. As we're getting to the end here, remember that you do have the chat, so I will be answering the questions at the very end. And I know there's other topics that always come up. So let me go ahead and address a couple things that I've kind of passed over pretty quickly. One of them is the timeline. For that first approach, I'd break it up into 3 different areas. Weeks 1 through 3, go ahead and create your one page of your intranet so that it links to that. Do your demo prep, get that ready to go, and review internally with just a few small groups. Get some people to help out with it so it's not just a one-person show. And then weeks 4 through 6, start doing your demos, and then just progress through that as much as you can using Stream or recording the meetings and then putting them into Stream so people can use those. I know there's always somebody asking, hey, what are the other approaches? And honestly, I always just say one thing. Don't do it. If you want everything now, you can't do it. It's impossible. Just do incremental baby steps, parallel paths. You can do this. It's just going to take some time. Another question that always comes up is about the shared drives and the shared files. I would not make that part of your very first project. That is usually something that's going to come directly from IT. There is a lot of moving pieces to that. There's some backups and things like that you need to address. So don't make that part of this. And also ownership. I would not have a single owner for the intranet in this case. I think you want to collaborate, work together with multiple teams, and have them make this so that it's successful, but without a lot of overhead. And then finally, before we get into the questions, let's talk about that roadmap. Think about the timeline. Think about the approach. We just want to crawl, walk, run. We don't want to go super fast on this. We want to include all the right people, but also the people that are positive. We want to test. We want to actually use this. We want to demo it so people can use it. There's lots of different ways. There is no right or wrong way on how to use Microsoft Teams for intranets. Make sure you're communicating with everybody about your progress. Using Microsoft Stream to be able to put that out there, people can find it, or you can put it in the post so people can find it. So make sure you're actually celebrating those successes. And then finally, remember that you're saving time for people. You're reducing stress for people that are always looking for things and they can't find it and they have to go ask questions and wait. You're helping remove all of those obstacles for people. So feel good about what you're doing and pat yourself on the back or give yourself a high five. You can do this. And just like that, we're done. All right, let's call it a day.
You get my thumbs up. Works for us. That sounds reasonable.
Works for us.